Test. Sounds like we got it. All right, welcome back to another land clearing live stream. I'm here in Jacob's office today, down here in New Braunfels, Texas. I'm your host, Austin Gray, Jacob Neffendorf from Rise Online Ads. Thanks for joining. We've got, Jacob, you want to tell us who's joining this morning?
The man, Chris Roussel from Boom Brush Control.
Say good morning, guys, over in the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what business you operate. We're going to have Chris on here this morning. Texas. I'm your host, Austin Gray. We're doing audio checks right now because we got a different setup.
Sounds good.
Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Did you test yours? Who you are, where you're from, what business you
Mic check. Mic check.
We're going to have Chris on here this morning. We're doing audio checks right now because we got a different setup.
Sounds good.
Guys, bear with us because we're doing this first time here. The in-person setup. Just double checking everything. Normally we'll go back and forth because we're remote and we'll test audio and whatnot, but
it's good. Sounds good.
Sounds like we're good. Well, good morning, sir.
Morning to you.
Yeah.
We made it.
Yeah, we finally made it, huh? Long night of travel.
Dude. Yeah, you should talk about that for a sec. That was wild.
It's just it was all self-inflicted. Could have been.
Old Texas did you dirty.
Yeah, seriously.
The digital ID.
No, because like now you can use the digital ID, especially flying out of Colorado. But it's the rental cars. You still got to have a physical ID. Yeah.
Lame.
So
did you end up getting a Turo though?
Yeah,
this time?
But you also have to have a picture of a physical ID with Turo.
Dang.
But yeah, Turo was easy.
Yeah. Just picked it up, got in.
It's way easier than the rental car.
Yeah, I like it. Especially dropping off. Just going.
Yeah, the only thing is that I didn't know how it was gonna be whenever show up late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, late at
like
night.
12:30 last night when I got in.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just text you all the details.
Where it's at. Yeah, I like, especially if there's an airport with a line for the rental car. Or at midnight, if they have a counter open, that person usually does not care about you.
Mm-hmm.
But glad you made it.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me. Office is sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Been working on it. The girls have done a lot for sure. But mine's the least decorated, but it functions.
I didn't know what I was looking for, and then I just drove by and I saw the long bed black turbo diesel sitting out front. And I'm like, that's gotta be it. It's gotta be Jacob's office right there. It's gotta be.
Yep. That's my baby right there.
Are you a Dodge guy?
Yes, for sure. Mostly just because everything is broken on it and I've learned how to replace it. I couldn't go any other way now.
I love it.
But no, they're good. Good trucks. Transmission, of course, had to be replaced already, but it comes with it.
Comes with the territory. Is Chris going to join us?
I texted him the link. Should probably give him a call. Can you see the chat at all?
No, I can't.
I saw a few guys check in when I was looking at the YouTube.
Morning, guys. Morning, Chris.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to make sure you saw it.
Clark's Site Works. Just started my business this week, starting at 0 in Middle Tennessee. Filming ads this weekend. Hey, George. Good morning. Good to see you. Muddy Water Land Management from North Carolina. Guys, morning, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Matt, good morning. Michigan Forestry Mulching. Good to see you here this morning. Good morning, John. Tracks and Trailers from Palmer, Alaska.
The man.
The man, the myth, and the legend. Justin Grimm, good morning. Good to see you. At Partlows. All I see is a YouTube handle there. Good morning from Maryland. What's your name and what business you operate, sir? Hey, good morning, Sean. Sean from Brush X Land Management. Good to see you this morning. Boneyard Habitat Land Management. Good morning from North Carolina.
Hey.
Got some North Carolina guys coming today, huh?
Yeah.
You got Chad up over there?
Yep.
Sweet.
Tony's crushing it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Dude, this smells good, whatever it is.
Tony Elrod, good to see you this morning. How's business out there? Jacob said you're crushing it.
Yes. Just had a record month.
Really?
Hired a new crew.
New crew? Congrats.
Chris said give him about 3 minutes.
Sweet. Sebastian, good morning. How's your week been? The GOAT Land Clearing. Love it.
It's manifesting.
Steve Partlow, good to see you. All right, guys, today's going to be a fun one. We're going to do another podcast interview style with Chris from Boom Brush Control. Jacob, when did you start working with Chris?
18 months ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe 16 months ago?
Yeah. Give us some background.
Yeah, so beginning of last year, really good case study. Basically, he got like about an 11x return in his first 4 months. At the time, we were selling 4-month packages. And then he was one of the first to ascend up to Titan with us. But he's in just south of Charlotte, North Carolina, kind of a nicer area, Waxhaw, Matthews area. But yeah, just crushed it out the gate. He's a businessman, but also grew up tradesman, handy. And so he kind of brought those two worlds together. And he had a kind of a similar story to a lot of guys where he tried to hire somebody to do some land clearing and there just wasn't good options at the time. And he saw a huge gap in the market and scooped it up. And I believe that was 6 years ago now.
Huh.
But he's done quite a bit, of course, since we've been working with him. But he's a sniper with the numbers, good with machines, does a lot of stuff himself, which is cool. We went out and visited him a couple months ago. And he's got a good slogan, like, if you need room, call Boom.
Yeah.
Love it. But he's a cool dude.
Yeah, I never forget, because I think you went to see him right before you came out to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, man, that slogan.
Got it.
He nails it every time.
Yeah. And he's got really good, like, he's probably one of the higher priced, similar to y'all. Real good at sales. Just crushing it.
Yeah.
Love it. He's been through also some ups and downs of business, of like having a lot of employees and then having issues and scaling down, but profit going up and then building back up from that. So I'll be excited to hear questions you ask him and the answers he's got.
He's primarily on TikTok, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He loves TikTok for sure.
I'm curious if he gets organic leads from that, or if that's just.
I don't think so.
No,
I think it's more the bros.
Yeah.
But he does. Yeah, he gets a lot of people hitting him up. Pick your brain type folks. He's helped a lot of guys out, but he ended up having to draw a line in the sand on that, just because so many people were hitting him up. But,
yeah.
And then that's a good point about that type of posting, depending on your goal, is if you post that way, you're just going to attract, competition or colleagues, whatever you want to call it, versus when you post with your ideal client in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in his case, I think it's more recreational business building, but it's just proof that depending on what you post is going to get to the target audience,
Yeah.
But
anybody else in this space who's using TikTok to get organic leads?
I do know one.
For the actual, for land clearing services.
Yes. Organic, not ads, right?
Organic, yeah.
There's one I see in Florida all the time that I've talked to before, On Track Land Management. He definitely does. Ricky is a huge guy. I don't know if you've seen him before. RPM Landworks, big company in Florida. He's moved into doing a ton of site prep type work, but he definitely, his organic presence on there is huge. Blanton Land Solutions. I don't know if you've seen him.
No.
Not a client of ours. Another one that I see posting on TikTok 2 or 3 times a day, but it's all geared towards his audience, which I really like. There's another one, Steadfast. Does not work with us, but he's doing a bold offer I've seen recently of $1,700 for 7 hours for one specific machine, his smaller machine. And from what he posts, it seems like it's doing pretty good. But yeah, that's probably the only ones I could think of.
$1,700 for 7 hours.
Lots of people were screenshotting it, sending it to me.
Is that right? Interesting. Let's talk platforms. So TikTok, you know, guys are always asking us, it's like, what platform should I use for what? So just from the hip right now.
Facebook.
No.
All day.
I don't even ask the question. He says Facebook.
It's not even close.
How long do you think this is going to be like purely us selling services to the customer? How long do you think Facebook is going to be the dominant player?
Man, if I had to guess, I'd say at least another 2 or 3 years.
Interesting.
It's hard to predict where things are going to go, but I think it's going to get quickly to the point where AI just sort of, recommends based on your specific scenario who you need. That's what Google's trying to do.
Yeah.
Google's trying to even keep people off of websites. Google just wants to use your website for information so it can give the person the answer.
Yeah.
Keep them on Google. But Facebook, they're still heavily focused on the creators because the video is what keeps people on their platform, because their platform doesn't have the information the same way for now. But I don't know if you saw Mark Zuckerberg's letter, but his plan is to get an agent in the hand of every human on the world that is a meta agent. So he could move that way where you just talking to your meta agent all day with your glasses and you're like, look at my land that needs to be cleared. Who's the best one? Oh, Bear Claw. But for now, as it sits, yeah, Facebook's the winner.
Interesting. All right. I saw Chris. He's trying to get in here.
Let's bring him in.
Can you text him and tell him because that notification went away. There he is. No.
Hey guys.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good, Austin. How are you, bud?
I am doing well. It's good to meet you.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Finally. Sorry about that. I was on an emergency call this morning.
Oh yeah?
No.
Yeah, let me fix my camera here for you. We had an opportunity in the city of Waxhaw. So huge roundabout project. And the site developer that they had hired pulled out of the job. And I've worked with one site developer who does a lot of work in Monroe and Waxhaw area. It's a pretty big job. This clear is probably going to be around $125,000. But they're putting in a roundabout. Full traffic control all day. Trees on the road. So yeah, they called us and they're like, hey, can you get out here and give us a quote? This project's supposed to start in 2 months. So yeah. Sorry I'm late, guys.
And we just been kicking it over here. I mean, I tell our guys, if a lead comes in, I don't care who we're meeting with. That's the most important thing. And if you got $125,000 projects on the radar, I don't think any of us are going to be mad about that.
That doesn't even, I mean, that's just the clearing. That's just the clearing. That doesn't even include traffic control. All right. Yeah. Good deal. What's
Love
going
it.
on? I heard
It's
the
good to
AI
see you.
talk. Yeah, man. You too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us this morning.
Glad I could do it.
Yeah, man. Jacob, we've already kind of introduced you before. Jacob was telling us a little bit about, but yeah, you started with a bang here. Come out well, I guess we should say you started with a boom.
Hey, there you go.
Started with a boom.
There
You
it
come
is.
on with a $125,000 job, and we were talking about how you've got the good slogan that you end your content with. But yeah, if you don't mind, why don't you just tell the audience who you are, what business you operate, and how long you've been in business?
Sure. I am Chris Roussel. I am the owner of Boom Brush Control and Environmental Mulching. Started this back. It started back in 2018. I grew up in the construction world. All of my uncles, my dad's builders, electricians, plumbers, land clearers. I remember back 6 years old being in a bulldozer. But I didn't go down that route. Out of the military, I went into operations, and I was in the distribution and warehouse business for two major furniture distributors for close to 23 years. So operations, customer service, a lot of HR work. So I had all of that as the background. And I don't know, I guess midlife crisis, 2018. I'm like, I was tired of traveling. I'm tired of this. And my brother-in-law had purchased a piece of property here in Marvin, North Carolina. And we were going to have the opportunity to have a home on that property. So we would go out on the weekends, cut trees and stuff. And I had a buddy who had rented a skid steer with a forestry mulcher on it. And I brought it to the house for one of the weekends. And the amount of damage I was able to do in a weekend, I was just blown away. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. It brought back that passion and love that I had for being outside. I've always been I feel like my God-given talent was, being mechanically inclined. Could take on anything, fix it, do it. And I ignored that way too long. So with that being said, still working for the furniture company, started doing my research, hired a consulting firm. Let's research this forestry mulching business, competitors, pricing. Did that for about 7 months. And what I learned was the competitors around me, there wasn't a lot of exposure online, especially Google. The business acumen, the way that they carried it, just wasn't there. And I knew that's something I had done for so long, being in the retail world and operations. Internet exposure is huge. Good, hopefully, not bad. So that's how I started off. I was still working for the company. I would rent a machine. I started the business, started the LLC. I would rent a machine and I would do these jobs on the weekends. And it was just me. And I loved it. And it got to the point where I was starting to get booked out like 3 months on a weekend. I'm like, you know what? I told my wife, I'm like, look, I've made enough money. I've got enough money. I'm just going to jump out here and try it. And that's how it started. So around 2019, went full steam ahead. It was just me. Ordered me a Ram 4500, bought me a Kaufman gooseneck trailer, got me a Bobcat 770 with a Fecon FGT head. It didn't have depth control rings. Learned the real way. And I ran that thing, man, forever. And it's crazy when I look back at it. The profitability that I had in my first year, it's insane. So now today we are, as you're forestry mulching and you got the competitors around you, the land clearing is an important part of it. I didn't want to advertise land clearing and being a forestry mulcher. I think that's crazy. You're just doing the customer a disservice. So I got a mini excavator, started doing small clears. And now today, 2026, we are a team of 5. We've got, let's see, I've got a Hitachi 210. We've got a Hitachi 85 with a Rotobeck grapple saw. I've got a John Deere dozer 650K with a root rake. Got 2 John Deere 333Ps, Pecan DCR, Pecan Blackhawk, and the MK that comes with the John Deere 7618. Bobcat Mini, Moorbark 2230 chipper, dump truck, box truck, 3 trailers. So I'm very proud of the growth that we've had, and we just keep plugging, man. Just keep
Awesome.
plugging.
Awesome. What was the progression of the machines?
So I went skid steer to mini. You know, when you're mulching, man, having a mini on a job, we did a lot of residential work. A lot. I mean, backyard transformations was my niche. And the before and after photos, if you look on Google, I mean, that's what really brought in the revenue. We had some commercial work, but it was really all residential. And I realized, you know, and I know Jake will argue with me about this now, but back then when I was doing my own Facebook marketplace ads, winter was my slowest point, right? And I'm like, oh, well, crap, I've got enough money in the bank, but my leads and my workload went down from November to February. And I'm like, God, what am I going to do? Like, there's just not a lot of people forestry mulching. But having that many, that was the next step in lining stuff up. But it gave me the opportunity, like if someone, can you come out and do, can you dig me a ditch? I started putting those type of ads out, light grading. We started doing downspout drains out off to these building sites, because a lot of these new home construction, they don't offer, they don't to a new homeowner. So we started doing that in the winter months. So I went from 1 skid steer, mini excavator, and then it got to the point where we were so busy, I couldn't afford for one machine to be down. So I was like, I've got to have another skid steer. So we got another 770, and that's about the time the Blackhawk had come out. So then I had 2 skids, mini excavator, always had then I got the dump truck. So now we were able to haul dirt in, or haul mulch, or haul rock, and we started adding driveways. And then started adding attachments like Harley rakes, landscape rakes. So then the progression went to there where we wanted to start doing land clearing. And fortunately for me, I'd made a really good developer that now from New York. He was starting his business back up years. And it was a 14-acre clear for a townhome development. And then I brought in, it was a big job, and I bought my 210. So that job almost paid for that, because of the difficulty it was to get material in and out where it was at. So I was able to put a good number on it. And then from there, you know, I had the 210, and then it got to the point where I got tired of renting chippers. So I'm like, I need a chipper, but I want something on tracks. So then we went to a track chipper. And then last year, I'm like, man, I can't always get a land clear done with a 60. 210's too big to get into some areas. So that's when I bought the 85. Yeah, that's just slowly progressed. I would love more diverse. The plan is, I've got my eyes on a couple of them right now. That's going to be big time. So I can blow chips into that. I want a dump bed, and versus calling my buddy all the time to haul things off with his 60-yard dump, I'll be able to do that on my own, because I have my CDL. My son has a CDL, and I've got another guy that's getting ready to get hired, and he has his CDL.
How do you split your equipment and crew up? We had a guy on last week, and he was talking about a blitz crew. He says, this is where I put all the guns together and all the guys, and we go blow out a big job. Is that primarily the job that you're focusing on? Is to just put everything on a job right now, or are you splitting
I'm
different crews
splitting,
up and
man.
you have? Okay.
Well, Jacob will tell you when he was here, and that was one of my frustrations. I'm equipment heavy right now. I'm blessed and fortunate enough. Excuse me, I know I'm getting out of the car, but I'm blessed and fortunate enough to where I've got a lot of work that I know is coming up, and the last thing I wanted to do is be without equipment. Finding somebody to run it, pretty easy around here. Finding somebody that you trust, that's the other thing, right? Um, so I have a lot of equipment that sits, but also if I know, like I've got 2 land clears coming up, I've already hauled equipment to sit there. It's waiting. It's ready to go. And, I'm of the opinion, I know if you don't have that machine running every day, I know you're losing money. But if I know I've got things lined up, I have a site developer, 2 site developers I clear for. I clear land for Jones Homes. I have big projects coming up with them. I have the contract for the city of Charlotte to do all of their underbrushing. And just got a call from them yesterday, Jacob. They're sending me the first job from that contract to start in July. So I've got a lot of things in the mix. I'd much rather worry about having somebody to be on the job versus worrying about having the equipment to do the job.
Mm.
It's
Right.
a lot harder to get the equipment faster than it is an operator. And that's just the way I've approached it, and it's worked out. I mean, I'm still in business, still profitable.
That
So
may be a good segue to talk about the numbers. Yes, you never want machines sitting, but from what I know, you price well, knowing your costs, whether the machine's sitting or running. So because you've priced well, you can cover those times when you have to mobilize or let the machine sit, proactively.
100%, 100%. My morning got screwed up, guys. So I apologize. That just threw everything off. So I'm sorry if I'm walking around. Yeah. So being in that operations background, one of my main jobs was, you know, sales makes the money, operations spends it all. So I have to keep costs down. I have to know my cost factors, where is the juice worth the squeeze, right? But also knowing that if a company tells me, look, this is your budget, you need to stay in your budget. And wherever you need to make cuts, you need to make cuts. Set that keeper to, I have an accountant that I have calls at least 2 to 3 times a month with my bookkeeper. I have a monthly call with my tax accountant. Where are we at based off of last month's P&L and the numbers? Where do you see do we need to buy more equipment? Do we not need to buy more equipment? Should we contribute more to 401k? I want to know what triggers I can pull to not give the government all my damn money. And it's worked out well. So knowing the P&L, and then what I would do also is people say it's overkill, but like you take the skid steer, for instance, I would track on a job based on that one machine. So a 770, I could nail down. I'm still learning with the 333. I knew how much it cost to run that machine per month. And I based that off a year's P&L.
Mm.
How much fuel I was consuming for that one machine. Instead of doing it each job, how much fuel was I putting in that machine? Because we track the hours. You know what it burns per hour, right? And then as far as when I order teeth from Fecon, I have a category. Anytime I order teeth, I have a spreadsheet. I throw that in there. This is how much money I spent on teeth. So I had a breakdown for each machine and the cost for each machine. And once you have that, if you know how many hours you're running it, it's pretty easy to get a cost per hour to run that machine. So once you have a cost per hour, now you can plug that into a spreadsheet. If you know what your payroll is going to be, you know how much that's going to cost, and you know what your cost per hour is based on what you're spending. If I say I'm going to go on a job, and this is where it comes into knowing what you can do. If I go to a job and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think this is going to take us about 6 hours. I can plug that in. I know what profit margin I want to be at. So if I'm telling my spreadsheet, I want to be at a 38% margin, this is the price. And again, when I first started the business, yes, I was discounting. I was doing whatever I needed to do to get a job because I didn't know what I didn't know. And yes, I'm not the cheapest. I tell clients that. But when I factor in my insurance and everything else with it, I have to be at a certain margin to grow the business, one, and two, to be able to maintenance my equipment. And those are my two biggest things that I tell Margarita, I tell my bookkeeper. I have to be able to maintenance my equipment, and I still need to show growth.
Mm.
And that's how I do it. So each machine, I know what it costs to run it. Again, I am still figuring out the 333s. They consume a lot more fuel and depth fluid. So yeah, and I've just adjusted it, and I just don't discount. I don't do it now. The only discount I will give is to a veteran.
Sure.
I do better. I do better in discounts.
Yeah, Chris, you said it one time. I can't remember the exact quote, but you're like, I would gladly watch that equipment sit there than go out for less than $5,000 or something.
Not doing it. It's just not worth it, because if I cut a job to like $1,800 or $2,000 to mulch, and there's a guy down here that's doing it. I've actually blocked him on TikTok. It just makes me it just infuriates me, because I mean, I know why he's doing it. He's rage baiting people, and he's getting the traffic to his page. I'm not making money off of TikTok. I'm just putting good, decent content out there, just getting exposure, right? But to go mulch 7 hours for $1,700, it's just stupid. It makes no sense. I could go out there and hit a manhole cover, knock off a tooth holder. Yeah, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. I used to do that. I just don't do it anymore. And again, I'm blessed enough to be able to do that. I mean, there might come a time where I'm not. So, yeah, I'm just not gonna. I think I did. I know I did a TikTok yesterday because I had some messages ever since I did that Bobcat stuff. I've gotten a lot of great messages from people around, and it's been fun interacting and answering questions for people. But I got this guy. They were asking me about pricing, and they made a smart comment about it. So I did that TikTok yesterday. I'm not running my equipment to practice. I'm running it to be profitable. And that's just kind of how I answered it to everyone that has asked me, hey, how do you price this job? Because no, shoot. Austin, when you started your business, how many people told you how to price a job?
How many people told me how to?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Nobody
one.
told me how to. But I love that saying. My pops always says that too. He says, I don't need the practice.
Right. I don't need it. Like, yeah. And you can call it arrogance. You can call it whatever you want. I don't do it for free.
No, so one thing Jacob told me about you, like the first thing that came out of his mouth, he's like, yeah, Chris from Boom, he's dialed. He's dialed.
I mean, look, man, I appreciate that. That's a great compliment. I try to be, but there's some weeks where I'm like, I don't even know what the hell's going on.
I mean, that's just business, right?
Right. I'm moving so fast that I don't even have time to breathe. And it's been like that with the equipment issues I've had for probably 2 months, like the Bobcat debacle. Not just because it's Bobcat. I was down a machine. I need 2 multiples. And not having that other machine just crushed me. And
so I'd love to get into that, Chris.
Yeah, let's go.
Purely from a fact-based perspective, and guys who, if you don't follow Chris on TikTok, you can follow him. It's at Boom Brush Control, right?
Yeah.
So Chris has been sharing some experience about Well, I won't steal it away from him. We'll get to that. I don't want to get off of the pricing though for a second, because you asked me a question about who taught me how to price, and I want to ask you the question back. And I think we'll go somewhere good with this, because ultimately you were saying you're still trying to figure out one of your machines. You had some sort of a process that you developed, sounded like, just from doing it on the fly. And so whenever you go and you figure out, hey, how much does it cost me to run this machine? How do you approach that as an operations minded business person?
So I love spreadsheets, right? It's pretty simple to me, not to everyone else. I get it. You got to know, well, you know what you paid for the machine, right? So you got to have the cost of the machine. You know what your monthly payment is, or if you bought it outright, there's still a cost to that.
Yep.
Right. And you need to figure that into what it costs to run that a month. I know how long I finance my machines. Depends on the financing. I mean, obviously I want 0%, and that's where I start. So you got the price of the machine. Now you got your inland and marine. You got your insurance. So what I do with that, I mean, it's simple. Each machine that is broken down, well, for me by my insurance agent. This is what this machine is going to cost you per year. And I would say for all of you out there, it's tough to really get a read in 1 month, because your productivity is going to get better as you go, right? So you're going to run the machine less. I would give it a minimum of 3 months before you try to dial in your hourly, what it costs to run that machine per hour. Hold on real quick. I'm going to change, guys, but I'm going to keep talking. So you've got that. You got the inland and marine. Then you're going to have your insurance for your vehicles, which you're like, why? Why would I have insurance for my vehicles? Well, you are hauling that machine, okay? There is an expense to that. So I take the cost of my commercial trailer and truck insurance. That's all of my trailers and trucks. And I spread that across all of my machines evenly. Not all of the machines even, but I spread it across the ones that I can haul. I can't haul my 210, right? Can't haul my chipper now. I used to be able to. And I know last year if you look at the hours of the machines you run, which machines I'm running the most. So basically, if I know the percentage of how long I ran those machines, that's how I split my commercial insurance up per machine. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's how I can really dial in. So now I've got my cost of the machine, got my inland marine, I've got my auto commercial insurance split up. Then I'm tracking my fuel. If you know how much fuel that machine burns, you got to track that, right? Because how are you going to get a true hourly rate, even if you don't even do insurance, if you don't know how much fuel you're burning in that machine? You got your DEF fluid. How much DEF fluid are you using? You need to track it. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's really not that hard. And we're talking, I have multiple machines now. Back then I only had one machine, so it's not now better than they used to be with hourly tracking. I mean, hell, you can pull it up on an app. You can track it on an app now. So now we've got fuel consumption, we've got DEF fluid, how many hours you're operating. Now we've got, okay, repairs and maintenance. You got your teeth, you got your grease. Grease, I'm not that OCD with grease. It is what it is. That's figured into my maintenance category for my equipment. And again, based on how much I run each machine is how I split that up. So let's say I run my 333 70% of the year. Well, if I've got that total expenditure and I'm splitting it up between 5 machines, then out of those 5 machines that I do that division, I'm going to take 70% of that and put that, that's how I split it up. That's how dialed in we had to be in my previous company when it came to operations. So now we've got maintenance. which includes teeth, wear and tear. And then the last thing I throw in there is unexpected, right? No one expects you to go out and hit a manhole cover. No one goes out and expects you to, give me some other examples. I'm just drawing a blank on forestry mulching. You know, you wrap a cable up in it,
Yeah.
or you get a tire rim in it,
Yep.
or you blow a $800 hydraulic hose. You know, you really can't figure those into daily maintenance. Those are things that are accidents that are just going to happen. And the only way I've been able to add that in now is based off of history. So you're going to have a history there. So I've got a buffer in there for that.
Mm.
And once I've got all those factors, how many hours have I ran the machine for the time period that I'm tracking these numbers?
Chris, you still with us? We just lost your audio if you can hear us.
Check.
Chris, if you got us.
That makes sense?
Oh,
Yeah.
there you are.
We lost it. We lost your audio there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, all
What
good.
did you hear last?
All good. So the last thing we heard was track the total number of hours that you've ran the machine.
Yeah. Now, once you've got the total amount of hours that you're running it for the period that you've kept track of your fuel and your expenses, you can dial that in and get a pretty close what it costs you to run that machine per hour. And you can use that. Now, that's what it's costing me to run per hour. Now, how much money do you want to make on top of that? Do you want to work just to run the machine, or do you want to make a profit?
Yep.
And that's what blows me away. And I'm not saying other people don't do it, but that's like I told Jacob. If I'm not going out charging $3,000 a minimum a day to run a mulcher, and I don't even do day rates, but if I'm going out to do a mulching job and I'm charging anything less than $3,000, I'm wasting my time.
Definitely.
Just wasting my time.
Yeah, because once I think the things that I see a lot of guys just not think about. And I was talking to my little brother about this because he's going to take over my pops' business in the concrete space. And I think so many guys just think about, okay, how long does the job take me once I fire up the equipment? Or how long does the job take me once I start washing the floor?
Yeah.
And all of the stuff that you're paying for as a business owner, that I'm paying for as a business owner, is getting to the job. That whole and all the stuff on the back end as well. And so the very simple fix, that I was trying to explain to him was, and we were building this little AI agent. And I'm like, dude, just build a job tracker. That's where you got to start. Just talk through your step-by-step process from the time that your brain turns on, because that's opportunity cost as well. It's like when the brain, as the owner, starts thinking about the job, if you want to offload that to somebody eventually, like you've got to pay somebody at a management level salary to start thinking about that kind of stuff. And then you go into the, firing up the truck. Well, to your point, the insurance is associated with that, right? The cost of the truck, the cost of the trailer, the insurance, the yard to store it. All of that stuff starts, and it's costing us money as business owners. Yet I see so many guys just want to track like from the time that they start the equipment. And so to your point, like if we're not generating a profit, how the heck are we going to pay for all this stuff before we get there?
And it's, I'm just talking about the equipment. You're so right. And I'm just talking about the equipment. I'm not even talking about, the regular liability insurance. There's a whole separate line item for that.
Yeah.
I've got they have the liability insurance. You've got, your phone bill and all your other stuff.
Yeah.
You got to figure all of that into your, I don't know, for guys that are operating and not using a P&L, I don't even know how they stay in business. And I've talked to some guys that'll say, you know what, well, I'd rather go out and do, have a job every day and do it for $1,800. If you add that up over the year, that's a lot of money. And I tell people, I'm like, you're not mulching every single day. Sorry, it's just not happening. I don't believe it.
Right.
And if you're mulching for $1,700 every day, at the end of the day, people aren't getting what they're paying for. Because if I were to mulch 7 hours a day for $1,700, you know, depending on the material, I mean, I've mulched up, if it's like small stuff, pines, I've mulched almost, right at 3 acres in a day, thinning it out. Why would I want to do that for $1,700? It's worth way more than that. I'm discounting my trade and my experience.
Yep.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah. One thing you said earlier, both of you said that I really like, because I see a lot of guys almost brag about. It's like, oh yeah, well we did $12,000 in 8 hours or something, or they say the hours, and it's like, okay, well if you're purely looking at job hour time, sure, but what about all of your overhead to run the business? And then another thing we haven't hit on today is so many guys, which Chris has dialed on his spreadsheets. We've obviously, short plug, created ClearPath that makes this a lot simpler for people who don't have that experience. But one of the things we put in there is owner's salary. And a lot of guys don't do this, and they almost brag about, well, I've never taken any money out of the business, never paid myself. And it's like, what are you doing this for? But you have to factor in paying yourself. Otherwise, your pricing will not be able to afford when you have to start hiring these higher level positions to run your business and grow. And this comes back to what I always say, like, oh, well, I just want to stay a certain size and profit. To me, staying small in this business for the risk is just not worth it.
It is not. It's really not. I mean, I'm my own worst enemy too. I'm thinking about numbers. My wheels are always spinning. I'm looking at my bank account every day. If I don't keep a certain amount of money in my bank account, I'm freaking out. I'm not saying that's healthy, but that's just how I'm wired, right?
Yeah.
And yes, guys, I'm going to play golf. How about that?
I thought you were going to close another $135,000 deal in that shirt. That's the deal closing shirt.
We had a really hard 2 weeks, and these guys crushed 2 land clears. And I told them, I was like, you guys nail this land clear, and I'm gonna give you Friday off with pay. So, and it's like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go play golf. Right? What's that?
That's what happens when you price right. You can take Friday off.
Well, and that's the other thing. And you get, I just bid this job, and I'll use this as an example, pricing wise. And if you look at my latest Google review by Sarah, this client, they moved from South Florida, bought a new home, and they they got 4 estimates. She's a head of a marketing for, I won't say the company's name. She's the head.
I think your mic switched to the truck.
To Bluetooth.
You got me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this lady, head of marketing for a huge company, found us through sponsored, paid Rise ad. Thank you, Jacob. And she had 4 estimates. She's one of these people that's, The funny thing was, I found this out at the end of the job. She grew up. Her dad was he cleared land, which was hilarious. She didn't even tell me that in the beginning. So she told me at the end that, yeah. So when we came out, we were not the cheapest, which love hearing that. However, everything that I told her, it just made sense. She had a couple guys told her, oh, we're going to have to put a retaining wall in the back. We're going to haul in like 60 yards of dirt. And one of the first things she told me, I said, well, you're wanting to clear this land. What do you want to do with it? Like, what's your plan? You just want a yard? Like, what are you doing? Well, we're going to put a pool in next year. It's like, that's great. There's your dirt. You don't need dirt. If you want to flatten the yard a little bit more, we'll put a slight taper on it. When we root rake, we can save you in hauling. We'll bury the organic material in the back corner that you're never going to build on. It's a drainage area anyway through the back of your property. You can't do anything back there. So we'll bury all the organic material. You won't have to haul that off. and the stumps were not big enough. They were 8 to 10 inch stumps. We just forestry mulched the stumps up, so we didn't have to haul that. We left all that organic material in the back. She's like, that had blown me away because I didn't even know what a forestry mulcher was. But the biggest thing that stood out was she said, you're not the cheapest, but the way that you educated us is why we went with you. So, it's just, oh man, it's so, I could really go into it. I just don't want to be long-winded.
You're good. You're good. What time's your tea time?
Oh, I'm good, man. We got plenty of time.
I want to go into, here's the deal. I want to pre-frame this correctly here. My mom taught me if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And so
I've said that in one of my videos. Yeah.
And I've heard you say that, and I believe we're in agreement here. But I like how you have shared your experience with your recent equipment experience. It was purely fact-based, and the reason why I would like to go into this is because, I see guys getting into it and buying a warranty and thinking that that's going to just be the golden ticket to solving all the problems. And from your experience that you've shared, it sounds like you've had a similar experience that we have had here with a warranted machine. Could you just paint some context for what you shared on that TikTok video?
Absolutely. And for all of you, if there's anyone out there watching on the live, I don't care what you buy or who you buy it from, you're going to have problems. It's just the world we live in. When you're running machines that run off a high pressure all the time, something's going to break, right?
Yep.
So you need to do your research, and it's all about dealer support. If you feel good about the dealer, I would suggest everyone read reviews, go out there. There's so much content on TikTok, on YouTube now that I was not privy to. Just do your research. Everyone's got their own opinion of what they think is the best machine to run. I get that. You've got to run two things. You got to run the one that you like, and you better find one that you have close dealer support. Away from you, you're in a problem. Well, you already set yourself up for failure. It's going to go wrong. So, and I'll lead into this. When I first started the business, I had Bobcat, John Deere, and Caterpillar, all within, a nice drive, right? Off the tee. They're all close together. And out of all of those, obviously Bobcat was the smallest. I don't always go for quantity. I want to go for quality. I just had a good feeling about the store manager, about the sales associate, and the shop manager. I met all of them. I wanted to meet them. And I asked them questions. I was like, out of what I'm looking at, what are the biggest problems that you have? Because I don't know what I don't know when I was getting into this. Only looked it up, research. And so I ended up going with Bobcat. Started off with a 770 with the forestry package. And at that time, they weren't a Fecon dealer. They had their Bobcat mulching head, which is made by Fecon. So I'm like, everybody out there that I'm seeing, was either running CMOF or they were running Fecon. So I did my research on both. And I liked that Fecon was in Ohio. It's, USA based, whereas CMOF was more Canadian, and people were bitching about parts and availability when I started. It's not like that now. So I went with Fecon. I'm still with them today. I love the equipment, customer support, getting parts, everything's easy. Do I think there's better mulchers? Yeah. But I'm comfortable with those, and they do the job for me. The Bobcat, start off with the 770. Great machine. Nothing made me a lot of money. Bobcat put me where I am today. So I have nothing bad to say about Bobcat and my dealer, because they always took care of me.
As time goes on, I need another machine. We get another machine. And then I had sold the first one I had, which if I could go back and have that thing without a warranty, I probably would, because it was a tank. And I don't know how deep you want me to go on this, but post-COVID, I had purchased another 770, which is the one that I've posted about on TikTok. And before that, I had gotten rid of my previous 770 and went with the T86. So I had the T86. I had one of the first ones. I was told was the first one in North Carolina. Big mistake. Don't get the first machine, guys. Just don't do it. Let them work the kinks out. So I got the 86. Supposed to be amazing. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It was herky jerky. Just didn't drive right for me. And I could still run circles around it with my 770, which should not have been the case in my mind. Just the whole drive system. And then I started having issues with like the hydraulic pressure. It just wasn't spooling the heads up the way I wanted it to. I felt like there was something wrong with the block. They did every test on it you can take. Again, this is more downtime. Every time you got to get something done is downtime. And unless I wanted to pay them to come out, I had to take the machine back to the shop. More downtime. If you're a one machine, one man operation, you're going to go out of business that way. Luckily, I had two machines. Finally, hated the, fast forwarding into this past year, last year, I hated the T86. I sold it. I got rid of it, and I jumped into John Deere. And it's been great. But the 770 I still had, because I started having problems with it post-COVID. And again, I followed the warranty every time, and I will tell all of you this now, and I kick myself in the ass from this, but as soon as you buy a machine, whenever something goes wrong, yes, and it goes in and gets fixed for warranty, or they come out, just, if you have an iPhone or an Android, go into your notes, create a folder, put the date in there. I had to take the machine back for this. Just keep documentation, note it, because if it continues to happen over and over and over. Now, it got to the point where back in 2024, I had almost taken that machine back 31 times. Not every time was documented in their system, but it was in my head. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I just sat down with them, and at that time, the machine had around 1,500 hours on it, and typically I would get rid of them around 2,000 once the warranty expires. And it was just having wiring issues, sensor issues, overheating issues. Just could not figure out what was going on. And they had just put not the full wiring harness in it, but they had found a wiring issue, and they had fixed that. And I was just stomping up a storm and like, look, this machine's 500 away from being out of warranty, and look at all the problems I've had up until now. I mean, the first day they brought it to me, within 5 minutes, the main hydraulic line snapped because whoever crimped it at the factory crimped it too much. So it just started off bad. Well, they extended my warranty. They said, you know what, Chris, we're sorry for all the problems. We're going to extend the warranty to 4,000 hours. And I can't remember off the top of my head the date, but it was giving me basically in a warranty till October of 2027 or 4,000 hours, whichever one came first. And I'm like, well, if that's all you're going to, and they gave me 2 free 1,000 hour oil changes, which, they're about $2,000 a piece now, because I don't service my equipment. If it's under warranty, I'll let them service it, because I don't want them to ever come back and go, well, you didn't use the right hydraulic oil, or we didn't do this, or so I just let everybody that I buy from, I let them service my equipment. Still kept having problems. And it just got to the point where, you know what, and I told myself, I thought about this really hard. Do I really want to put this out in social media? I don't want to come off like a whiny bitch. But then the other part of me thought was, I'm not just going to get on here and give my opinion. I'm going to stay factual. And I can't be the only one that's going through this. I just can't be. And I did not know how much it was going to blow up. I really didn't. But I put it out there in the universe, and I'm still getting messages. I had 3 messages this morning. Hey, what do you think about this? I've met so many great people, engineers from Bobcat that still work for the company. Once Doosan took over, there were a lot of issues. And I will tell you, without giving out names, what happened post-COVID was there was a part shortage. And a lot of the problems stem from wiring harnesses, which are now made in Mexico for Bobcat. They weren't previously. Getting those right. They didn't have batteries, and they didn't have computer chips. However, the machines were still getting mass produced, and they were stored in a warehouse. So typically when these machines would get made, they're going to go through, depending on what series they were, there's different tests for those machines. Well, when you don't have a battery, you don't have a computer chip, you can't test the machine. So they were still making them, storing them in a warehouse. And when everything came in, boom, we put them in, we roll them out, rock them out, gone. So a lot of these machines did not get the testing.
What years?
And that's where, that was after 21. And there's a specific serial number that it started at. And again, without throwing people under the bus, because there's only certain people that would know this information. I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble, but at the end of the day, it was just a bad time for, I guess, for them and everyone, not just Bobcat. But for me, I think the biggest frustration was I noticed the level of service that had gone down from the original time that I purchased. When I first purchased from Bobcat, they did have a hauling truck and they had a CDL driver. Well, today they don't. And that's a decision that's made by the franchise owner, right? That's not a Bobcat thing. They're in the business to make money too. So they don't have that. So even if I wanted them to come pick up my machine, unless they were going to hire a hauler, which they didn't do, I still had to pay for an outside service call or bring the machine in. So that was one thing that my other competitors could give me. The other thing was when it came to service tech ability, they have one amazing outside service tech. Austin's amazing. Great name, by the way. But Austin's great. He's just stretched thin, right? And being able to, like, if I break down today, being able to get him out here, sometimes they could do it, sometimes they couldn't. Or if he went on vacation, I mean, you got no service tech, right? What are you going to do? So they only have one service tech, whereas my competitors have multiple, right? Those were 2 huge factors. But the biggest one, when I first bought, one of my things was, well, guys, what happens if I go down? Well, they had rentals. They had rentals that they rented out. They had 2 at the time, and they had one at another location. And they said, well, if we have one available and it's definitely something warranty, we'll do what we can to keep you up and running. They don't even have a rental machine anymore. They sold it because it's not cost worthy, because they rent it too cheap. And people that don't know run a forestry mulch or go rent it, they will try to take down a 36-inch oak tree. So it's like, what are we doing, people? So my competitors can give me a loaner. And even if Bobcat have it, they just don't have one to give me. So 3 major factors there. Take away all the frustration I have with the machine. Now I've got to look at it from a business owner. What makes sense to me? Am I going to stay with Bobcat just because I like them? Well, I'd love to, but at the end of the day, I have to stay profitable too. I have to do the right thing. I still have my E60. I've had 2 minis from them. I've had a 42 and I've had a 60. I love their minis. They're amazing. But when it comes to forestry mulching, the 770s they just can't handle it. Well, the newer ones can't, in my opinion. So, and that's where we're at. I don't know if that answers your question. I know it's a lot of info.
No, so the reason why I was wanting to bring it up is because I just want guys who are considering buying their first machine to understand what actually happens after you buy it. and what the warranty will actually cover.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for anybody that's getting into forestry mulching, right? Oh, sorry, lady, she's pissed at me. Anybody's getting into forestry mulching, first of all, make sure you got the forestry kit. Don't cut corners. Your life is way more important. You know, get the ROPS protection on the roof. Make sure you have a safety door. Get the extra, protection around your, the sleeves and stuff that cover in the back and the arms to keep debris out. It's just your life is more important. Don't cut corners there if you're getting into forestry mulching. I'm fortunate enough to where none of my machines have ever caught on fire. We clean them out and power wash them pretty frequently. Just don't cut corners when it comes to that. But when it comes to the warranty stuff, if you maintenance these machines like you're supposed to, really the only things that are going to go wrong is sensors. There's so many damn sensors in the depth fluid that they put on these things now. They're the things that cause the biggest problems in every machine, whether it's Bobcat or anything you buy. Everybody will bitch about the same thing. They hate the depth fluid. They hate all the sensors. Or it's the door. Everybody's bitching about their door. They get too much dust in their cab. So just do your research. But all of that stuff is warranty. It's the wear parts that aren't going to be warranted. Like your tracks.
What's your maintenance routine?
Well, I follow what's on the machine, right? So they program them when they change the fluids. I'll take it in and do the fluids when it says, oh, it's time for service. It beeps and tells you what to do. As far as daily, we grease every day. My guys know if I come up on a job or if I'm on a job and I hear a squeak, grease is cheaper than steel, guys. Grease is cheaper than steel. And bearings. So I would probably say we probably over grease. I have a lot of grease on my machines. So we're constantly greasing these machines. And we check the fluids every single day. Before we fire up, check your oil, check your hydraulic fluid. To me, it's common sense. And I know sometimes we get in a rush and we don't think about that stuff. You got to do it, man. Just follow the routine that the machine tells you and grease the hell out of your machine every day. Check your fluids.
That's an interesting thing you said about never having a machine caught on fire.
Yeah.
Which I think sometimes it's like, well, yeah, of course. But one of the things I've really learned that I definitely did not know 5 years ago, at the volume we're at now, somebody's machine pretty much burns down weekly.
Jeez.
We're getting notifications. So like it seems more rare to have not had a machine burn down than to have had one burn down. So that's kind of interesting to me, and good point of what you're doing to not have them burn.
Well, I think, in the forestry marching world, I don't claim to know everything, right? I learn a lot from others as well. It's only going to catch on fire if there's debris in the compartment or there's an electrical issue and you've got some type of fluid leaking in the back. So if you're checking your machine daily, if you've got leaks, fix the damn leak. Yourself up. If you've got a hydraulic leak, fix it. If you've got a fuel leak, fix it. Why are you running your equipment knowing, especially internal? I could see if you got a leaking, everybody, that's not going to start a fire unless something sparks it. But I've never seen anyone say that their machine caught on fire because their quick coupler was leaking. It's normally in the engine compartment or it's underneath the cab that they haven't blown out for 3 months. To me, that stuff is very preventable. I'd hate to think that people do it for an insurance claim to get out of it, but
always possible.
just like I don't do cash jobs.
Right, of course.
What's your goal with the business, Chris?
That's a great question, Austin. Jacob's asked me that same question. I'm 53 years old. I didn't think I'd be as big as we are now. So I don't know. I don't really have I know this sounds great. I don't really have a goal to get bigger. I put it in God's hands. So if God wants me to get bigger, then I'm gonna get bigger. I love what I do, and I never sat down in 2018 and said, I want Boom to have this many pieces of equipment in 2026. I just kept plugging along, putting a good product out there, diversifying, making sure I stay connected, not just in the residential world, stay connected in the commercial world, and have different things that I know. Like if I don't have anything coming in, I know I could call this builder, or I know I could call this site developer and say, hey, you got anything? And they'd say, yeah, go over to this job site and knock this out. Or I've got 2 golf courses in my pocket. I keep all of my equipment at a golf course. And the only thing I have to do that is I give them 1 day of mulching a month. Or sometimes I don't even do that. They'll say, hey, Chris, can we borrow your mini excavator for the day? We got to put new fans in on the course. Or can we do this? Just last Saturday, we had a huge microburst come through. Dropped a huge tree on one of the holes, and they had a tournament that morning. We were out there at 6:30 in the morning to take care of them. So I set it up to where I know I'm going to have money coming in. As far as goals to get bigger or what my goals are, I don't really have a goal to get to. I've been blessed enough with what I have and what we're doing. I have high expectations when we do jobs, and I think if you put a product out there long enough, you're not really going to have to advertise that hard, because you're going to make a name for yourself. People are going to know when you want something like this done, this is who you call.
When you need room, you call Boom.
Call Boom. That's the way I look at it, man. And it's crazy. That whole thing started in CrossFit. They used to call me Boom because every time I would, or someone would hit a PR or something, I would just yell Boom, and it just stuck with me. And I started a CrossFit apparel gear, and I ran that for 3 years at CrossFit competitions, where I met my wife, and it just stuck. So that's how I transitioned into the company.
And what's the name of your gym again?
Well, it's Rise Up. My sister-in-law, my sister-in-law and my wife were CrossFit Games athletes. They've been athletes their whole life, D1 athletes, freaks of nature, right? And I'm fortunate enough to be able to work out there. I get to coach there sometimes as well, but it's just an important part of my life. Helps me feed the crazy in the mornings.
I hear you on that. What's your workout routine, like schedule wise?
6:30 every morning.
Every single day,
except for Saturday, Sunday. But
Okay.
I'll go to an occasional Saturday WOD with my wife if we're home. We've got a daughter in college now. We're excited about that. We just took her last month, so she's playing field hockey in college. So we're actually flying out for her first game, and then every other weekend after that.
Sweet.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is going to be a new home for me for watching field hockey.
Love it.
Yeah, man. I know goals, just blessed. I mean, I love what I do. Love helping people. And you give and you get back.
Awesome. Well, Chris, thanks for joining us this morning.
Absolutely, man. Sorry I was running around like a chicken, but that's every day.
Yep. It is every day. But it's been fun to get to meet you. And
yeah. What's going on, real quick before you go? What's going on with your machine?
Nothing right now specifically, other than we had a transfer case out in the chipper truck. Somebody ran over the chipper remote. So nothing.
That
no,
I don't
it's
know
just
how much your chipper remote is. That's
Dude.
My chipper remote's $7,000.
Yeah, ours was 4. Yeah, that was when I heard about that one, I was like, that sucks. That sucks. But what do you do?
That's
right?
probably not what you said, but yeah, that would
No, I mean, at this point, look, we got some great guys. We really do. We got a great team, and I know you do as well. And I'm super thankful for all of them. And you said it earlier, things are just going to happen. Those guys are out there busting their butt every single day, and we do our best to set proper expectations and put the process in place. And Josh, who leads our field crews, was like, man, I specifically stated that multiple times because like I've seen that one happening, and it just happened. And, I think you get the opportunity to, at that point, you get to choose how to handle it. And to your point that you made earlier, if we have multiple years of P&L to look at, we just know things are going to happen. Does that mean that we're just going to be careless? No, absolutely not.
No.
But we're going to price accordingly just to make sure that we have some buffer in there for when the $4,000 remote does get ran over. And, then when it happens, it's like, let's get the new one. First time's a learning lesson. Second time's a mistake. We don't make mistakes. And let's keep moving. Let's keep blocking and tackling every single day. But
I'll end with this. What's the dumbest thing that's ever happened to you on a job?
Well, me personally, I run pretty fast in my mind, and there was a certain point where Josh was like, "Hey, man, just focus on the marketing. I'll do the field stuff. Just get out the equipment." But yeah, we got this job up in Rocky Mountain National Park, like first year, and I was all fired up, and that was when I was still in the field every day. But when I'm in there, I'm just pushing. I like going fast, and yeah, went fast, and we were cleaning up a bunch of deadfall, and it was like seconds this happened. All of a sudden, hydraulic fluid was just in the cab, and I was like, "What happened?" But basically, one of those trees that was on the ground came and just sheared the coupler right outside, and it just exploded right there. And I had the windows cracked, right? And there it was.
That's not that bad. I mean, I think, yeah, this the worst thing happened to me. I threw a 8-foot 6-inch cedar log through a kid's swing set. It went through the swing set, hit their grill, knocked their grill over, hit their outdoor cocktail table, and landed on their outdoor sofa right outside the kitchen window. It was just laying on the sofa. And I didn't even know I did it. This is when I was by myself. I didn't even know I did it. And I'm finishing the job, and I still didn't see it. I'd backed out, mulched out, it looked beautiful. I was taking pictures. I was so proud of it. I went to the front door and knocked on the door. I remember telling her, I was like, "Hey, I'm all done. I think it looks amazing. What do you think?" She's like, "Are you kidding me right now?" What's wrong? She's like, "You just destroyed half of my outdoor furniture." That was my embarrassing moment.
No.
For me. That was a 9,000. That was to this date, thank you, Lord, my only insurance claim, and that was about $9,000 worth of damage. Yep. Hiked it like a football, man. It was pretty impressive, actually.
Dude, that's the thing with this equipment. You get locked in, you start getting in the zone, and then all of a sudden, when something happens, it happens fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happened fast. That's why I like the DCR heads. They don't throw it as bad. That was when I had the FGT. I mean, that thing would just grab something and just chunk it. Anyway, no, it's been fun, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for being on. Real quick, I'll pray over you real quick and the crew, and we'll wrap this one up. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for just Chris and who he is, and the business he's building out there. Lord, we just pray for safety for all his crew members. We pray for safety for all our crew members out here, and then all the guys listening right now. We're talking about things that can happen fast, and I know we're kind of chuckling here, but there are things that can go wrong quickly, and so we just lift up all the crew members who are in the field today, and we just ask for protection over them. We ask for protection over the customers, and we just ask you continue to help us focus on you, keep you first, and just keep on focusing on being better every single day. Thankful for these opportunities. Thankful for Chris, and thank you for everything, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Man,
Amen, guys. Thank you.
thank you, Chris. Good luck on
We'll go out here. We'll go out here and
tournament.
shoot 100.
Let's do it. Good luck out there.
Thanks, bro.
All right, man.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care. All right, guys, let's jump into the comments. What do we got here?
All right. You just want to go from the top?
Yeah, let's go from the top.
Okay, if you were starting over with your knowledge, what would you do differently, land clearing specifically? I guess that was technically a question for Chris.
Yeah, that was. Pricing is a big conversation. I think the type of machine, the market, business are all factors. It's $250 an hour, not enough. Not every market is high income. Do you have to price for your area?
I challenge that every time. I don't think the area really matters, personally.
I mean, what it comes down to is the cost. It's like, what does it cost you to do business? And so no matter what area you're in, the equipment relatively, I should add a caveat here just because I haven't priced a specific skid steer in every single market in the US, but I'd be willing to bet it's all very similar across the board. Mm-hmm. Meaning if you're buying a Bobcat T86 in Charlotte, or if you're buying a Bobcat T86 in Nashville, I bet they're similar price. Maybe some differences, maybe. But
the big thing to hit there, I think, is you're not pricing based on your area. You're pricing based on your expenses, the value you're providing, and the profit margin you're trying to hit.
Yes.
Now, what I will say, in Chris's scenario, where he's in a high income area, he may not have to go as far. Versus, like we were just talking to Westdale yesterday on the Titan call. He's in Eastern North Carolina. He says on any given day, he may be within 250 miles of the house. So he's not pricing less, but he's going further. So you may have to go further if you want to find better work, if you're choosing to live in an area that's lower income.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and one of the first things that, like, when guys come into Accelerator, like on an onboarding call, that we ask is just like, hey man, where's the pocket of wealthy people? And just purely for the fact, like, the facts being, if a group of individuals living on one side of town have property and they have more disposable income, there's a better likelihood that they're going to be able to have the money to pay for property improvement services. And look, like, those are just the facts. We've all got the expenses, so we should develop our price based off of our equipment, our labor, our overhead, and then whatever profit margin that we need to hit. And look, profit's not a bad word. And the reason is because, like you heard Chris say, if you're dialed, if you understand your profit, that's what's going to allow you to be able to reinvest back into either the next piece of equipment or the next role that you need for the next growth stage of business.
Right. And we hear it every week. Guys, they have some big expense come up and now they're freaking out, trying to turn off marketing, which is the only way usually they're getting jobs.
Yeah.
And it's because they're not pricing to have that margin. That's why you have to have that margin. That's why Chris is golfing today.
Yep.
Gave his guys Friday off. Tony, a couple of these are sort of similar, but did you start dialing your costs right away, or did you have to stop yourself from working and just sit down and get it done? That kind of goes similar with, I know we all have to learn our production rates, but is there any guidance for guys entering the business on what generally considered, light, medium, heavy, basically how long it's going to take?
I believe, Tony, the sooner you can dial in your costs, the better off you're going to be. And so, I'll come back to the example that I was sharing with my little brother in the concrete business yesterday. If you can just shift your mindset to, all right, I'm an owner operator right now. I'm solo. You're probably doing a lot of the work yourself, and maybe not you, Tony. But for some of the owner operators listening, it's like, if you're doing the work yourself, we need to first understand what it would cost to pay someone to do that work. And we should at least be charging the business for the value that we would be paying for someone to run that machine. Okay. And if you want to eventually hire a salesperson, if you're doing all the sales and estimating, then you need to understand what it would cost to go out on the open market and hire a sales professional to do sales and estimating. And if that's something that you want to grow into, then we need to bake that into our pricing from the get-go. And so I guess we'll just take a step back here and do pricing from the beginning. If you can understand how many months you have available to work, like Chris, for example, he's going to have more months available to work than we have out west when we have snow 5 months out of the year. You have to first start with the amount of months that you can physically work. And then you break it down into how many days do you have available to work. And then do what Chris said there and start tracking your equipment. How much does it cost you to run that equipment? All the costs associated with that. You bake all that in and then start understanding your overhead. Well, with the overhead, if you eventually want to hire a sales rep, if you eventually want to hire someone to be a project manager or to lead the field crew, then we got to start baking in the costs to our pricing. Otherwise, we just won't ever get there. And it kind of goes back to what you said about owner pay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I really encourage y'all who are listening to this right now. It's like this hat right here. Like, sure, it's a bear claw hat, but I want you to take your hat off right now and just ask yourself, what hat are you wearing in this phase of business? Because as the owner operator or as someone who is growing, you have to consistently put on different hats. And you may wear different hats throughout different times of the day even. You may be equipment operator, you may be estimator, you may be customer support, you may be your back office admin. You're doing all of those in the beginning when you're solo. But if you just start taking off your hats and saying, okay, this is my equipment operating hat. I wish I had other hats here to share the example, but if you have multiple hats here, you can start understanding what it would cost to go recruit the guys or gals to wear these hats. And when you understand that, you bake that into your pricing. And so to answer the question, long-winded answer here, but the sooner you can start dialing in your cost, not only now, but in the next phase of business, the sooner you'll be able to have the cash to be able to reinvest back into the next hire.
Shameless plug here that would help answer a lot of these questions. ClearPath, the app that the AI advisor tool that we've created using all of our knowledges, operations, call recordings, playbooks, SOPs, everything that we've ever created, recorded, written down, or learned is built into it and continuing to grow. We'll be able to answer these questions. It will be able to give you baseline production. Now, of course, if you're using baseline or generic things, no, it's not going to be perfect. You'll have to quickly track that. That's the other thing ClearPath does help you do, is track it. And you can track it every day and then make decisions based on every day. It's not like if you have a year's worth of P&L, you're going to be way more dialed, right? But in the beginning, you just got to go off the data that you have.
That's right.
But if you wanted to fast forward some of that, ClearPath has answers for production, density, access, slope, pricing, averages, all of these things. But it's also going to make you put in all of your costs. And don't skip anything. I just recently had one of our guys do this, and he didn't put any money in for his owner's salary. And his crew day rate kept coming out to way too low. And he was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, you have to factor in paying yourself. And big heads up for any guys who want to be in business more than 1 year. You have to pay yourself a reasonable salary in the eyes of the IRS, or you're going to get audited, especially when you're writing off a bunch of equipment. So,
which is, well, I should probably be careful about saying this because most CPAs kind of give this term loosely, but most guys are going to ask, like, well, what's a reasonable salary? And so here's what I would ask first. What roles in the business are you currently handling right now? Write those down. So are you handling sales? If yes, write that down. Are you handling marketing? If yes, write that down. Are you handling finance? If yes, write that down. Are you handling equipment operator? If yes, write that down. And then just go to Indeed and look for, I like looking for other excavation and tree service companies and seeing what they're hiring sales reps for, or project managers, or back office admins. And if you just go look at other similar trade businesses and similar roles that people are recruiting for and that they're advertising the wage for, then you can just grab that annual wage and plug those into your numbers. And so when you realize it, you as an owner operator start to understand how many hats and roles you're actually filling.
exactly.
You not only do I believe you should pay yourself out of the business, I believe that your business is going to be better off the sooner you start paying yourself. Because look, if you're paying yourself, let's just say you're paying yourself $75,000 or $80,000 a year salary. Well, that essentially is like, if you're leading the field crew in the beginning and you're doing sales, you're at least pricing for someone who's an $80,000 a year salary position, which in most markets you could probably go recruit a project manager for that, or a field crew lead at least. Right? So by paying yourself, your pricing is actually better suited for the next phase of growth.
Big time.
When you started, let's see, what did Chris say? This is huge. Love to see the breakdown in the logical process behind the pricing. Tracking and data is the foundation to pricing and building a successful business. Yes, absolutely. So going back to, Chris has obviously dialed, Chris, the guy who we had on the podcast today, he's been dialed with spreadsheets. But guys, if you don't want to use a spreadsheet, that's what ClearPath can help you with. Sean asked, when you started hiring, did you have them as 1099 or right into W-2? The only subcontractors, 1099 guys we used early, was if they had their own, they're either climbers, like tree climbers, or if they had their own equipment. Everyone else, we've just been hiring W-2 from the beginning.
And I would drastically caution you hiring anybody 1099 that's not bringing their own equipment, but even then, careful. And sales guy is another one you could get away with, but if you want them to be loyal, that's going to be hard. But one of our longest standing clients went through like a 3-year lawsuit with a hand crew that he hired 1099, and the guy fell out of a tree, broke his leg, and sued him as an employee. And basically they ended up settling. So like, can't say he won, I guess, but if you have them working all day on your job site, it's going to be hard to justify if something happens. So just be careful with that.
Yeah. And I mean, the rules basically from the IRS, the way I understand them, is if you're basically telling them when to show up and when they can leave, then they're a W-2 employee. And so I just see so many guys trying to skirt around that. And yeah, I can't speak for other business models in blue collar, but at least when you're operating equipment, like if it's your equipment and if they're showing up on your job, man, I believe it's not only important, it's a responsibility. Like,
yeah,
like you got to get those guys covered under your workers' comp.
Yeah.
and make sure. I mean, that's like my biggest fear in this business, right? It's like you got guys operating big equipment. Things can go wrong.
Big trees.
And man, I mean it when I say it. It's like when I jump on and I pray, like I pray for safety for all the guys that are out there. Because at the end of the day, man, we're all out here building our business and we got a goal. But the last thing any of us want is to hear about any of those tragic accidents, right?
Right.
And kind of going back, circling back to the W-2 thing, it's not only like what the rules state, it's our responsibility as business owners. And then it just comes back to pricing accordingly. If you just understand the costs that come along with hiring somebody at W-2, then you just bake that into your costs and you charge the right price. And if everybody does that, then the market price or the value of all of our services go up.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Big time. Guys, if anybody wants to go check out ClearPath, it's landclearing.io. You can jump in there. It'll walk you through the pricing immediately. You can get answers to some of these questions in detail in the next few minutes. So go check it out.
I know we all have to learn our production rates, but is there any guidance out here for a guy entering the business on what we generally consider light, medium, and heavy density? Like Jacob said, like ClearPath's going to answer that right out the gate for you, just for generalized production rates based off of your area. The confidence that these breakdowns and conversations can build is outstanding. Chris is so dialed into his numbers, just like you two. It's inspiring. Thanks, guys. Yep. Thanks. Good to see you on here. Yeah, Chris is dialed. John said, ClearPath answers lots of these questions for me all the time. If you give it good info, even for brainstorming, it can answer these generic questions for you really well. Thanks, John. If you hire them, you hire them. Otherwise, it's just subcontractors, which is not hiring. Cool. Any other questions, guys? If you got questions, post them in the chat. You guys like us bringing on other people in the industry here? Like we've kind of experimented with some different formats here. I think Jacob and I both, I mean, as you have seen, we agree on a lot of our methodology behind how we run our business, and that's why we've continued to do these things. Going back to the end of last year when we started these live streams, and that's why you kind of saw us, for those of you who have been on here consistently, you see us pinball back and forth just on our teaching and our training. He pushes me, I do my best to push him. We challenge each other's thinking, and so it's been fun to do that. But now we're in a phase right now where there are other guys in this industry who we can learn from as well. And so, you know, a guy like Chris, I was really excited to talk to him. Just because from the beginning, like I said, Jacob told me, it's like, man, Chris is dialed. I'm a firm believer that iron sharpens iron. You guys have heard from some other guys up to this point, but what'd you guys think? Like it? Thumbs up. If you like it, just put a 1 in the chat. If you'd rather us go back to just, you know, doing more like teaching and Q&A, then put a 2 in the chat. So 1 would be podcast style interviews with other owners and operators in the space. And then 2 would be either Jacob or I teaching in the format that we did in the beginning of this year. And look, I promise you, if you put 1, you're not hurting either of our feelings.
We got some 1s for sure.
All right, good. We got some 1s. Sweet.
While people are dropping the 1s, Clark's Siteworks put, this time of year is trade show time. What trade shows do y'all prefer to attend for this industry? So, man, I would love to hear from anyone on this, because if there were trade shows for land clearing and forestry mulching, I'd be at every single one. To my knowledge, there's not. Now, are there trade shows that Cat, Fecon, FAE go to, yes. The ones I've heard of, like Equip Expo, Dirt World, those are the two big ones where I've seen those players at. They're both focused more on the excavation or the landscaping side. I'd still love to go to those. I probably will, but I'd love to hear some of the trade shows people are going to.
Yeah. Yeah. Equipment Expo in October.
That one's in
Okay.
Lexington. Big
Okay.
one. Enormous.
Just throwing this out there, quick question. If we pushed for an industry, land clearing, forestry mulching, vegetation management industry trade show in the future, is that something that guys would be interested in? If so, put another one in the chat. And then the other thing that I would ask is, like, what do you guys want to see more of? Is there anybody specific? So we had a lot of ones on the interviews. Is there anyone specific who you would want us to bring on to do a podcast style interview? If you have someone who comes to mind, just type out their name or their business name. If you've got their social media handle, that would be awesome.
Yeah, Con Expo. I was sad to miss that one. It's only every 3 years, though.
Yeah,
Huge.
I know. Yeah, one of my friends went.
Oh, Zach Thomas. I could get him on easy.
Yeah.
We could have him on in 2 weeks.
All right. Zach Thomas.
Yeah, he would love to do that.
Sweet.
Easy peasy.
Anyone else, guys? If so, post them over here in the chat.
Lots of ones, but also lots of 1 and 2s. Because our training's done something. I agree.
Dedicated Forestry Expo would be cool.
I think there's some like logger ones,
Yeah.
but I haven't necessarily seen other ones.
I second Zach Thomas. Let's bring him on. Let's text him right now.
What about someone who hasn't started yet? Follow the true startup feel. I bet you have a couple good candidates for that, or ones that maybe just barely started.
Yeah, I'm going to bring on a guy named, he agreed to it. I'll keep his name public until we have a date finalized. He's tentative on next week, but he had a similar issue with his machine.
Oh yeah,
68 hours on his machine.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's under warranty, but he's doing good out the gate. I think he's been in Accelerator for a couple months now, and he's hit like 55K. So we'll bring him on, and we can talk startup, just going straight from zero. You guys have heard from John. John's on this chat right now, but John's also another good guy who basically moved to a new area up in Alaska. And if you haven't met John, he's on here, Tracks and Trailers. You guys can go follow him. John's just a solid guy, salt of the earth. So if you haven't met Tim, feel free to reach out. He's also involved in the school communities. We still got the free group going, school.com/ownerops. John's over in Accelerator as well. Let's see here.
so
Westdale.
yeah, we definitely gotta. He's just full of wisdom, dude.
Yeah, I would love to. Would love
We
to.
could get him. Motor City Hot Shots went from small to huge. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he would do it if we could get him. If we could get him away for a minute. Yeah, I think right now he's got 6 Cat 275s plus big excavator, dozer.
What's Motor City? Sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
What's Motor City Hot Shots name?
Gary. Pittman
Gary
from
okay.
Michigan. He would do it, but we just have to plan ahead for sure.
And then where's Zach Thomas out of?
Wisconsin.
Okay, Zach is in Wisconsin. Gary's Michigan.
Yep, I was just with them back to back a couple weeks ago.
Okay, cool.
I love this comment. Honestly, love the sense of community you guys are building more than anything. Being around a group of business owners is honestly hard to find.
Yeah,
that's true. Appreciate you saying that. John said your trainings and all of these have given me real hope for a future career in this industry. Man, I love that. Somebody said, I don't think just mulching would draw enough. Yeah, for sure. You'd have to have land clearing forestry included.
absolutely.
I want to make sure I didn't miss anything
Wow, you're still going. Yeah, we got the day blocked off here.
Yep.
We're gonna be doing some clear path stuff here. Dude, let's just talk. Let's be open with it. Let's talk agenda. So I flew down here to Austin. Jacob has been kind enough to host me here in the office, and we got the days blocked off here, and we got so many ideas and concepts. For those of you who don't know, we've been doing this live stream for since like November last year.
Mm-hmm.
Formerly, I had the Owner Ops podcast where I was just interviewing a bunch of home service business owners. I own Bear Claw Land Services. It's a land clearing and forestry business in Colorado, focused primarily on wildfire mitigation. And so we still have business in the industry. We started working with Jacob. It's been a couple of years ago now, and we just become really good friends. And we realized that our methodologies behind business, were very similar. And I had him on the podcast a couple of times, and then it was just like, man, I love this industry. I love the business. I just asked him one day, I'm like, you want to just keep doing these live streams? And so ever since then, we just jump on and talk business every Friday, and it's kind of developed into what it has today. But now we've got ClearPath AI that we've done a joint venture on, and we both felt like, you want to tell that story of like why it made sense when we started having that conversation?
Oh yeah.
Why it made sense to do a JV on that one?
Absolutely. Yeah. So both of us, love the blue collar, grew up blue collar, but found a good leverage point with technology.
Yeah.
And how it helped not only our business, but helped us help other folks' business. And back in February, AI, agents really hit the public with a storm. And we were both, vibe coding early mornings, late nights, all hours of the day and night, just trying to see what we could, create and make better. And we were iterating and, making it good, making things that weren't good.
Yeah.
But we talk every day, but we didn't realize we were both creating AI chat advisors using our knowledge bases at the exact same time. And when we both figured that out, I know my first thought was, well, this would be 10x better if it was married up with your operational knowledge, SOPs, and all of the history of you training up, the guys you were training up. And, it seemed like you kind of had similar thoughts on, our side of the data.
Yeah.
Which is, I think we have one of the largest data moats in terms of data on the most land clearing companies day to day for the past 5 years. And so that together just, to me, seemed one of a kind, powerful, unstoppable. And we just jumped right into it. We've learned a lot along the way.
Yeah.
I was telling the guys yesterday, I think we've spent conservatively $30,000, not including our time and efforts, to get it where it is today. And we're still, we've basically updated it every week as we could, just to make it better and better and better, and truly serve the value, not just be a shiny, cool tool.
Yeah.
And I am definitely proud of that. And it means a whole lot for guys in the chat here to say, the good that they've gotten from it. But yeah, I think it just made so much sense to do it together.
Yeah. Yeah. And to kind of add some more light on that, it's like, for those of you who are maybe joining for the first time, Jacob owns Rise Online Ads. They run ads for people in land clearing, forestry, mulching, and they have for the last 5 years. And one thing I've always respected about Jacob, or one of the things I've respected about Jacob, is his ability to focus. And so he's made a couple hard decisions along the way. Some of the ones that seem like counterintuitive decisions. And 5 years in, he's now seeing the fruit of those seeds that he planted 5 years ago. But it all just comes back to him being able to say, you know what? How many businesses did you have at one time? Like 4 together?
4, yeah.
Just being able to have the wherewithal of like, my time as a founder can only go to like so many places at once if I want things to actually grow. And so he and I had a lot of those conversations early on, especially whenever I was thinking about, because when we started Bear Claw, and I think this is going to be relevant to some of the guys who are starting out right now. It's like, if you're starting out, you're thinking, man, I got this machine. I could probably go do driveways. I could do mulching. I could do clearing.
Septics.
I could do septics. And I fell into that. And the reason being is because in the early days, it's just hard to see that there is enough demand for one service to keep that machine busy. Did you ever meet Brock Peel?
I don't think so.
From Canadian Septic,
Mm-mm.
Canadian Sanitation. He's I've had him on the podcast like 3 or 4 times, but he was another one who, like yourself, just really encouraged, hey, what happens if you just focus on the one thing? What happens if you just focus on the one thing? And they did it with septics early on, but he came from blue collar background, general contractor. They dig the foundation, pour the concrete, frame the house, put the roof on, sort of thing. And then he finally just realized that, hey man, if we just get really good at septics, and if we put a marketing plan to it, if we build a sales team, if we get really good at estimating, if we understand our pricing, then the reps that we put in is the moat that we're building.
Yep.
And so that methodology, along with what you've done with Rise, has kind of shaped how we have made decisions within Bear Claw. And it's so easy to say now that we're on the other side of it. In the beginning, it's incredibly hard to make that decision to focus.
Because you got to say no to real opportunity.
Yeah.
But that's, when you meet a mature business owner, they say no more than they say yes. Because the more you grow in business, the more opportunities you get. That's the trap. The trap is that there is lots of good opportunities. Yeah. But if you want to be great, you have to say no to good opportunities to be able to say yes to the great ones.
Yeah, no doubt. So kind of tying this back into ClearPath here, it's like Jacob made a decision to focus all his time and effort and energy on the land clearing niche. And as we were growing Bear Claw, we started building these processes and these SOPs and putting those in place. And when we started having these conversations, it's like marrying up sales and marketing data with operational SOPs. If we could train an AI agent on that for this industry, we both felt like that was a worthwhile endeavor for many different reasons. So
that's one thing we're doing today.
Yeah.
It's hashing out the next level of ClearPath. And just throwing the nugget out there, we're also planning to have an in-person event.
Yep.
Beginning of next year. So we're going to hash that out. And a lot of what people talked about here, talking about community and people and seeing people, that's going to be, in my opinion, the first of its kind.
Yeah.
There are obviously people who do in-person events, but for land clearing, forestry, mulching specific, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So we have not done our planning. The only thing that we have had at this point, I would say one thing we've gotten better at in our communication is just being like, okay, idea, let's write it down, let's table it, let's revisit.
Yeah.
The only thing that we have had in conversation up to this point on events is just rough timeline.
Yep.
And also basically high level and we're going to hash out some details today. Can you share anything with people about what to expect from a timeline perspective? I mean, we're in August right now.
For sure. So
Almost September.
I just was talking to them about it this week. We're shooting for January.
Okay.
For the event. Most likely looking at having it here. And I think we're probably going to have a lot of it solidified by about November.
Yeah.
For people to be able to plan to come.
Yeah.
Looking at workshop trainings, masterminds, like hands-on, like real do the thing while you're there trainings, as well as what we call like hot seats, where you're sitting at a table with a group of, guys that are going through similar problems as you.
Yeah.
And literally trying to solve those problems right then and there, make hard decisions right then and there, and work on your business. This is one thing I've gone all in on in the last probably year and a half, is going to places and meeting other business owners like me and learning from people who are where I want to be, and being able to work on the business and not in it. It really does something for your brain. So we want to be able to bring that to the table for our guys. And
we even halfway considered booking a workshop just to go have this meeting. Yeah. We were like, well, for this first one, let's save the $5,000 and let's get the initial planning out, which we still may do for the second real one. But to Jacob's point, getting outside of the normal day-to-day of where your actual operation is can sometimes put you in a different headspace to be able to actually work on those things. Now, I think we've teased a little bit of it here. Guys are probably wondering, is this a operational focus one? Is it equipment focus? Is it marketing? Is it sales? What do you mean by workshops?
All the above.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why we want to bring subject matter experts into it as well, both from within our community and, possibly outside. But yeah, all of the above. And we always talk about, I call it lead, sales, and talent. You say something pretty similar, but basically you're always going to hit these ceilings in your business on, you either need more demand or you need more supply.
Yeah.
Or somewhere in there you need support. So we're going to hit on all of those things at this with subject matter experts, from pricing to operations to sales. I like the idea of having some kind of live sales workshop, or, hey, somebody's phone rings while we're there and we're going to pick that thing up and hit it right there,
Yeah.
But also love the idea of trying to get some equipment out there, maybe showing people how to film. What I was telling my team is, one of the things I want to do from the stage, if I get the opportunity, is pull out my phone, film an ad in, CapCut, put captions on it, put a title, and hit post, and show them how you can do it in 90 seconds. And that's the thing everybody says they don't have time to do. So I want to show stuff like that, but we also got to work within the time frame that we're given. People can't come spend a week here. So seeing what the most valuable things we can bring at that time will be awesome. So.
Yeah. And I know you've got some stuff, higher level stuff, that we never really talk about on live streams. And so, yeah, I think there will be a time and a place for going deeper on some topics that we don't normally go deep on in the live stream.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To your point, and you guys have probably seen this, we focus a lot of our conversations on how do we get leads. After we get leads, how do we build a sales process? After we build a sales process, how do we hire the right people to fulfill the work in the field? But there are some, the one thing that I'm really interested in, well, there's two things. I'm really interested in this concept of farming right now, specifically from a mindset perspective. It's what seeds are we planting? What seeds are we allowing to be planted in our mind? And then what seeds are we sowing? For example, with you planted the seed that we're going to focus on land clearing marketing. 5 years later, you're now being able to pick some of the fruit of that.
Yep.
And so I'm just in a phase right now where like I'm interested in mindset, because I think that we as business owners hold ourselves back more than anything.
Yes. That's what you get at those in-persons, is mindset, belief breaking.
Yes.
But I mean, that's why your accelerator program is so valuable, and like what we do with our Titans so valuable. I just had a one-on-one, like a 2-hour one-on-one call with some guys yesterday. They've been with us for 3 years, but they had questions that brought out answers or knowledge that I had that they didn't know about.
Yeah.
And they were like, I wish I could pull up the recording, but the quote was, "Holy cow, what you just said made this whole call worth it." And we talked about like all kinds of stuff in this call.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to get to do at a higher level in person, when you're sitting next to each other. And that also pushes you to take action. And all the guys in your program that have done the best, all the guys in our program that have done the best, your business, our business, I truly believe, has had success because of massive action taken.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? When we're in person and I tell you, like, this is how you take this action, here's how you click the button, here's how you do it. You don't get to have the excuse of getting off the Zoom and getting busy.
Yeah.
You're there.
Yep.
Take the action.
Yep.
And we can show you what taking massive action in person looks like. And they get to see like, oh, this is how he does it. And guess what we're going to be doing there at that event? Taking content, making content,
Heck yeah.
putting out content, just like we preach to everybody else. But anyways, that kind of stuff gets me excited about it.
What else? What else on the event? Like, what else is bouncing around in your mind?
I don't talk to a lot of land clearing guys that really get in a room with other ones. There's a few of them that are close with guys near them, but most are not. And then there's a few of them that are close on the Facebook groups, or, they got Snapchat and they're just, sharing, we're out here grinding videos back and forth.
Yeah.
But really sitting down and getting to know someone in the industry, getting to hear from them, getting to see their experiences, sitting next to somebody who's gone through what you've gone through or is where you want to be is so cool. And I never had that in any of my businesses. And now that I've been able to get kind of a taste of it, I'm like, yeah, our guys need this, So I'm excited about that, getting guys in the room together.
Yeah, just meeting people in person is so much different too.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, even on a day like today, like, we could do this over Zoom, but I don't want to sit on Zoom all day.
Yeah.
Like, it's way more fun to just do the in-person. I went to Andy and Bodie's event last year at the Stryker. They own Stryker Digital, and just purely getting out of the normal day-to-day, flying somewhere else, being on site with people. Here's the thing. It's like, I always try to go into those events with who is 1, 2, or 3 steps ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than approaching those events with because I think some people come in and then they immediately like some sort of jealousy sets in, or some sort of comparison sets in.
Mm-hmm.
If you can go to those events and just say, you know what, I'm going to be thankful for the opportunity to sit in the room with other guys who have figured out something or are doing something that I'm not doing.
Mm-hmm.
And just be humble enough to say, I'm willing to learn.
Yep.
And guys, and I've said this before, with the accelerator, I'm very confident in being able to help guys get to the 1 million mark. I'm not the guy to go to 10 because I haven't done it yet. And I'm also investing my time and resources in surrounding myself with the people who have gone from, 2 to 5, 5 to 10.
Yep.
Because I want to learn from those guys. They're obviously doing something that we're not. And so I think that's where the real value comes from an event like this. And that's what I'm incredibly excited for. Even to meet some of the other guys who've been in the industry for a lot longer as well.
Yeah. Dude's 15 years,
Yeah.
been through it all. But that's what's cool. Like Wes Dale, I was talking about him. He's been in the industry 15 years, but he's learned a lot from some of the guys in our Titans group that are only 4 or 5 years in.
Yeah.
It's like people have different experiences, learn different things, and everyone can learn from everyone in the room.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
But I also like getting in the room. Like I was just in a room with an agency doing $42 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think like, oh, what's all these complex things he could teach me? And his like advice to every single one of us was, y'all just need to put the gas on sales, do more, just do more, you know?
Hire more sales people,
Yeah,
run
yeah.
more ads.
Like, man, a lot of businesses problems can be solved by some more revenue.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always been a proponent of like build the plane while it's flying.
Yeah.
Take massive action. You know, I could fail more times and then come out successful faster than somebody who tries to just plan every single minute detail. Bloom, I don't know why I've been seeing him so much on my feed lately, but the dude who created the Bloom drinks has been talking a lot about this. And he's like, I can just beat everybody because I'm just going to go out there and take the action. He's not afraid to fail or mess up. And that's like when they sold those 10 million cans with a misprint on it. But one person noticed out of 10 million. And it's like, dude, just go out there and take action, get it done.
Yeah.
That's what's going to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
John's excited about the event. It's funny talking about seeds, dude. My great grandpa, every time I saw him, I'm just going to plant a seed, Jacob. I'm going to plant a seed. And man, he had actually lived it. Like where he lives, there's this giant oak tree you'd think would have been there forever, and it kind of has. But he planted it from a seed. And it's like, man, you got to plant a seed and be intentional and set long-term goals and be patient.
I don't know why the Lord is teaching me this right now, but I was telling my wife this yesterday. Like I've been hit with this concept in a podcast format that I listen to. I've been hit with this concept in my in scripture, and I was hit with this concept in prayer the other day, and I don't know why specifically yet, but as I continue to spend more time in it, I think it's coming from like there are a couple guys in Accelerator right now who are just like, man, it's hard right now. And starting a business, like, it's definitely not easy. Like there are step-by-step things that can help, but it's not going to change the fact that it's going to take a lot of time and it's going to take a lot of effort. And so I think that's the reason why I just keep coming back to this. It's like, okay, you plant the seed. It's really easy to plant the seed, but it's hard to come back to it every single day and water it and sow it and just keep coming back to it.
To get nothing from it.
For 1, 2, or 3 years. And what is easier for me to see now is, 3 years on the other side of it. I just see how long, okay, we planted the seed, which was we saw the opportunity, and we just watered it over and over and over again without the results. And then here it is. It's so easy to see now that the fruit is here.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting concept. Excuse me. It's a simple concept, but it's still interesting when you actually think about it. These things take time after we plant the seed.
Yep. And sometimes the plants die. They get ran over. You have a bad year, no rain. Animals eat it. I know it sounds cliche, but like not every seed you plant grows. But you just got to keep planting.
Dude, how many seeds or even trees, like trees that started growing in your business or your journey of entrepreneurship? We've never specifically talked about this. Like how many of them died before you got to rise.
A lot. There's ones you don't even know about. Yeah, a lot of them died. Some of them I killed.
Yeah.
Which that's what's hard to do. But I mean, think about how this relates to land clearing.
For sure.
Sometimes you have to take out the trees that are growing like crazy to give room for the good trees to grow.
Yeah.
Your guys actually taught me a little bit about this when they were like selecting the regrowth.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we got to get rid of this one and this one so that this one can get what it needs to grow. And it took me a long time to learn that. But yeah, I mean, I did everything. From, of course, mowing lawns like a lot of us did. There was a time where I was buying stuff from Harbor Freight and selling it on Amazon.
Nice.
Shipping it into the Amazon. I made duct tape things. Tiffany made earrings. She got a Cricut, like a lot of folks' wives have done, started making crafts and stuff, trying to sell shirts and hats. Dang. I mean, so many things: pressure washing, roof cleaning, gutter cleaning, selling chemicals to pressure washing companies, RV rental business. I'm trying to think of the other. Trash can cleaning. That was another kind of like shiny object one. Talk about equipment heavy and maintenance. Like, you think the skid steers break down? This truck putting like a couple 100 miles a day on it full of water and cleaning like 80 trash cans in a day, the stuff breaks all the time. That was wild. It was a wild time. And then, of course, my career, and I was not minimalist in that, like down every avenue of it, from rescue to ropes to fire to EMS to training. Lots of stuff on that end, but all the way back to working at restaurants. There's probably something else in there I'm forgetting that I did. But anyways, yeah, lots of seeds planted that never grew. That's why I love Hormozy always talks about. He's like, I did all these businesses that failed first. I think he says he put out like 9,000 ads that never converted. So people always look at his stuff like, oh, he made $100 million at one launch. It was like he failed 9,000 times before he did that.
Yeah.
It's like you just have to take so much action, plant so many seeds before you get the one. The one.
Yeah, because when you do it and the one doesn't grow, your mind goes to like, why didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't it grow? And is there something that I could have changed that would have helped it grow?
Yeah.
We could do a whole hour-long podcast on this, maybe 2 hours on this.
Yes, 100%.
Let's get to some clear path planning.
Yeah.
Guys who are still on there, we've just been riffing. Thanks for tuning in this morning, guys. Yeah, so it sounds like people are interested in doing more podcast style interviews. If you need, well, two things. If you have a recommendation for someone in the industry who you would like us to interview on the podcast, then please let us know. Where's the best place for them to send that? Support at landclearing.io.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
Easy one.
Okay, so that one, support at landclearing.io. Send podcast recommendations over there. Secondly, that's also where to go with any feature requests or support or bug items with ClearPath. So if you guys have something that come up while you're using the app, send it to support at landclearing.io. Okay. And once again, feature requests too. So if something that we're going to be talking about today in our work together is, where do we go with this ClearPath? Do you want to talk about just like potential? We're by no means are we promising that we are going to go down any of these routes, but you want to just end on like, hey, where is the potential that we're considering going, just based off sort of like what we've heard?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so many guys are using it to sort of build their estimates and their pricing, but then they're still using other models to pretty them up essentially, or send them directly to clients.
Yeah.
And while we're trying to make ClearPath as good as we possibly can in the confines we have and not compete with the big models, we've said like, hey, it's not an agent. But I wouldn't take that totally off the table for the long-term future of the idea of having, an agent that's basically your right-hand man for your business. I think with the foundation that ClearPath has, that's always a possibility. But I mean, before that, we would definitely just keep boosting up the features that are actually valuable, like things that you would actually use day to day to make your business better, more efficient, easier, make more money, have more clear picture into data. Like we just recently built an internal tool to see response times internally.
Yeah.
If you can get obsessed with response times and follow up in your business, and like we put out data from companies as a whole, like we know it takes an average of 24 touch points to close a land clearing deal between calls, text, email. But if you knew that in your business, like I know it in my business, you could build your SOPs, your internal, how you train your employees or what you use yourself. In your market with your leads, it takes an average of 11 times to close somebody in a 5-day window. Well, then you can just reverse engineer that for your business.
Yeah.
So if you had an agent looking at all that data inside of your business specifically, so I think that's another cool feature we could. I mean, technically with high level, that API is available right now with ClearPath.
Yeah.
But making that more broad and easy. That's our big thing. Like a lot of you could go do some of these things if you were wanting to, code and build and learn. Our goal is to make this very easily accessible and digestible for every guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of our guys are not, technology is not their thing.
Yeah.
Equipment is.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We want to make it where it's the most valuable for every possible land clearing guy. Those are the things that come to mind, but on my end.
Yeah, my head, like when you and I were texting last night, and we haven't even talked about this yet, but we're talking purely just ideas right now, right? Like where the vision of this could go and all possibilities. My head continues to go down the route of, all right, well, if the issue that people are having is like trying to connect all the tools together, like we use Jobber and Go High Level, right? You guys with Rise clients use Go High Level. We got Quo for phone numbers, right? If technology is not the thing, then it's almost just like, how do you build the one tool that's, it's like if you had one login for your land clearing business and that was all you had to do, and it covered marketing, sales, operations, invoicing, estimating, like
internal communication.
Yeah.
Like taking whatever you or your sales guy did on the walkthrough and getting that information perfectly to the crew.
Perfectly.
That would be.
And also reporting back on the touch points, like, because we know the touch points that need to be tracked, right? We also know the prompts that this is where it gets really interesting because you have the sales and marketing data. My brain works more on the, like, how do you build the system around it that not only trains, but holds people accountable to doing the things. So it's like, if you want to, let's just say, for example, like, let's just say we were going to go build the best land clearing business in the whole United States. Well, what would you have to do? Well, you'd have to market. You'd have to build a marketing process. You'd have to build a sales team. You'd have to hire a lot of salespeople, which you would have to train and hold them accountable to specific KPIs. And so it's just like, what if the system just did all of that?
Yep.
Not like take Accelerator, right? Like what we do with the training and the videos and everything. What if that was just baked into like the training portion? How let's start with the sales process. All right. If you need a sales process, well, what do we need? First, we need
Scripts,
KPIs.
Where do you keep track of things? Role play, feedback, call feedback, coaching.
Yeah. Training.
I mean, imagine like the risk and fear you would take out of hiring a sales guy in your land clearing company if he was getting instant feedback on every single call he made.
Yeah.
Based on the perfect way,
For sure.
It's learning and training all the time. Amazing. You get that. Well, we don't know where machines are going, but we know they're adding more technology to them.
Yeah.
If you could get instant feedback on production and efficiency, like an Amazon facility, like
Totally.
they're getting instant feedback on how they're doing. That would be pretty sweet.
Which it's like the infrastructure is there.
Mhm.
So like I can't help but to let my head go to, and I mean, it's already been. So like picture ClearPath as the advisor that's trained on the knowledge base. It's trained on the SOPs. It's trained on what KPIs. And guys, sorry if we're using a ton of 3-letter acronyms. KPIs, key performance indicators, which essentially means like, what are the numbers that you need to not only track, but hit in your specific role? So take a sales role, for example. What are the key performance indicators that show whether he's winning or losing? For those of you who are an accelerator, this is why we do a scorecard, right? I give you guys the 5 numbers that we need to track every single week. And I can tell you or you can tell yourself if you're winning or if you're losing. And then when you know if you're losing, you just know that you need to go change 1 or 2 things to go get this number back to a win. Like that's all a KPI is. So kind of going back to like the vision of that, right? If you had all the data in one place and all the training and the system that held people accountable to it, and it was one login that replaced absolutely everything. In my mind as an operator, I'm like, yes, give me that.
Yeah.
But that's a big build.
Yeah.
And that's the reason at this point, like just for anybody listening, we've taken the stance of, all right, ClearPath is going, like we're going to really focus on training it with the data so that its main focus is an advisor. And then we just use the tools that are available right now. That's why we use Go High Level, Jobber. But I don't know, like I'm just throwing it out here. Like what's the feedback here?
We put a lot of time, effort, and focus on pricing because that's
for sure
what everybody asks about. That's what everybody wants help with. And it does a lot of other things. But that's where we put the focus purely based on feedback.
Yeah. What do you guys want ClearPath to do? Post that in the chat. What's one specific? If we only did one specific thing today while we're here in person, if we went and coded one thing into the app, what would you want? Post that in the chat. One specific feature or one specific update, what would that be?
Yeah, that's kind of what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Because it starts to get everywhere. Guys got Onyx, QuickBooks, some kind of CRM, maybe multiple. Then some guys have other apps that I'm trying to think of right now. Well, the apps that like the machines are starting to come with.
Yeah.
For whatever kind of tracking.
Yeah.
I'm sure the dealers have them. And then, you've got maps. That's another one. I think it would be amazing to integrate sometimes. KISS is the best acronym to use. You're going to teach me that one. I never heard that one.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Oh, dang. I have heard that. I didn't know KISS.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with
stupid.
that. I would agree with that.
Guys, any feature requests? Post those in the comments here. I agree. A&A lawn and land. Keeping it simple. Okay, it'd be nice to group chats in a project. Marketing, machine estimates. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Ability to upload spreadsheets and use that data to help upgrade pricing inside ClearPath. John, I think you should already be able. You can download your spreadsheet as a CSV and then upload to ClearPath.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if you're on Google Sheets, just go click File, Download, and then click Download as comma separated values, and then go upload that file into ClearPath.
Yeah,
and you can say, hey, please analyze this.
The project one is actually a good point.
Really good point, Sean.
That should be easy to do.
Yeah, so Sean asked to group chats inside of projects. Like, for example, marketing chats all go in a folder on your left side. Machine estimates.
Yeah, and after this, if you have any of other feature requests, support@landclearing.io. John just recently sent one in that we're actually working on already.
Yeah, John, I've got yours on the list here for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode. We'll keep these rolling. All right, land clearing live streams Friday mornings. We're on 8 a.m. Central Time this week, 7 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll do our best to keep bringing people on. If you have recommendations for who to bring on the interviews, send those over to support@landclearing.io. If you got specific questions about ClearPath, you can also send it to that email, support@landclearing.io. And then finally, if you don't have a ClearPath account yet, you can grab your account by visiting landclearing.io. If you get the Pro plan, that saves your memory associated with your account. The first thing that you will do, like Jacob mentioned, is you will set up your crew day pricing. You have the ability with the app to build out different crews and price accordingly. Our whole goal here is to help you build a better business. And so that starts with understanding your pricing. After you get your pricing set up, you can go in, you can use it as an AI advisor. It's been trained on our knowledge base over here from the SOPs that we've built, that we train on inside of the Ops Accelerator, which is how we built off of what we used to build Bear Claw over the last 3 years. And then it's also trained on Jacob's sales and marketing data over the last 5 years of running ads and doing marketing for land clearing and forestry mulching businesses. Once again, landclearing.io if you don't have a plan yet for ClearPath. And with that, we'll wrap this episode up. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, work hard, do your best, never settle for less. Thanks.